In terms of pay, transparency, and many other aspects of the gig economy that drivers often complain about, fight for, this is easily the worst news I have ever heard of to date. Coming out of what used to be a fairly successful ride-sharing market. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with a distressing ride-share video. Folks, this comes straight out of Seattle, Washington. Many of you are aware Seattle was one of the most successful rideshare markets in terms of drivers winning pay increases, transparency, and a host of other things that made it one of the best places to drive. If this goes through, it could turn the time way the hell back. Coming from an article titled, "It's Full Speed Ahead for Nelson's Delivery Driver Wage Reduction Bill." Now, when they say Nelson is Seattle's City Council President, Sarah Nelson. So this is coming directly from the president of the City Council in Seattle. Remember, you're not going to get much in ride sharing in terms of wages, transparency, and things we want unless it's through legislation. Here is a case similar to Minneapolis where drivers won and politicians are trying to roll that shit back. Listen to how awful this is, though. The Seattle City Council is fast-tracking a repeal sponsored by Council President Sarah Nelson of the city's minimum wage for gig delivery drivers, after companies like DoorDash, Instacart, and Uber imposed a $5 fee on every order. Listen up for that $5 fee. Essentially crashing their own Seattle market, and said they would not remove the fee unless the city reduced drivers' wages to citywide minimum, currently $19.97. Under the current law, known as pay up, drivers average about $26 an hour before adding tips and subtracting expenses. Now, they want to basically take the legislation they got now and move it back down to minimum wage. So what they're basically admitting is we only want to pay drivers what the city's minimum wage is, which is $19.97. Minimum wage is fine for burger flippers, folks who are not trying to earn a living, teenagers, working as a side job or whatever the case may be. But for full-grown adults who have to maintain and keep up a damn car, minimum wage ain't cutting it. And these companies are admitting right now drivers are averaging $26 an hour, and that's too damn much. They want to roll it back. Now, keep in mind, for you folks that are in, say, the South, who might say, well, $19 an hour is a hell of a lot of money. This is in Seattle. Now, I'm from Chicago, and I did the numbers just before I came on. Seattle's cost of living is 21% higher than Chicago. So if you're down in Alabama somewhere talking about $19 an hour is a lot of money, understand it's significantly more to live in a city like Seattle compared to where you're at. And they're admitting $19.97 an hour is the minimum wage for that area. And they want to be required to just pay that. My opinion, this says every damn thing you know about the claim from Derek Costa-Showery, CEO of Uber, suggesting drivers were making a utilized pay of somewhere like $39 an hour or some shit like this. They're coming out and saying the quiet part out loud. We only want to be at minimum wage. We want to only be forced to pay drivers literally the bare minimum, even though they got to maintain a whole damn car in the process. Also, this $5 fee that they added, that is the problem, is that Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, whatever the hell the company you want to talk about, they can change the prices at will. And there is a reason why they will just switch and change prices. It's not just about being greedy and making money. Listen to what this driver, this is a veteran driver, listen to what he said, and it should make a hell of a lot of sense. Kyle Graham, who has driven for Uber and Uber Eats since 2016, said that after the city removed a temporary COVID-era pay increase for delivery drivers and other essential workers, his pay dwindled to as little as $3 an hour before tips, and a lot of people no longer tip. Damn right. This $5 they added to each order is just to try to get customers and drivers to fight in these city council chambers for Uber, because they think that if they get rid of this ordinance, they're going to drop those fees, Graham said. But Nelson's proposal does not even remove the damn fees. Basically, what he's saying is that once drivers won extra pay in Seattle, Uber countered by DoorDash, some of these other companies too, Uber Eats, they countered by adding a $5 fee to all of the deliveries. And as a result, it's hurt the market because people are not ordering as much because it's $5 extra per order, which makes sense. But the problem is, why the hell was the $5 added on to begin with? Other than we still want our cut to be as big as it is. So if you pay drivers more, we're going to just charge everybody $5 more per order. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that the minimum wage increase they got in Seattle does not equate to an additional $5 per order. Uber is cashing in on this shit. They go up to minimum wage, maybe the driver's making $2 or $3 more per order. Uber just added $5. So the drivers didn't just get a raise. My guess is the ride-sharing companies, the DoorDash delivery type companies, gig working companies, they all got a raise in this shit together. But you hear what he said. The only reason they added this fee, the biggest reason they added the fee, not to be greedy, but to get everybody to fight on their behalf. If we raise up the fee enough, people wanting this service will push back against giving drivers a raise, and the companies will get what they want. This is exactly what happened in Minneapolis, where the companies are threatening, if you give drivers a fair shake, we're going to leave. All of you folks who want this service will no longer have it available. In the case of Seattle, the service is available. We're going to charge you an absorbent fee for it so that it's damn near almost unaffordable. And in both cases, it's working. In Minneapolis, it's also working. They're rolling back the increase that drivers had won there. They've already delayed it to July 1st, and they're coming up with all types of other shit where they may not see that $1.40 they were expecting to get in Minneapolis either. But this here in Seattle, here's the issue. Right off the bat, the ride-sharing companies, the Uber Eats, Delivery, DoorDash, none of these gig companies should be able to just play games with the fee without any sort of accountability. When they pass these laws protecting drivers, what they should do is also pass a law that prevents the companies from making wild changes to the fares and fees without having city government approval. That would stop this. In the taxi business, that's exactly what they used to do. You never seen wild price swings in the cost of riding a taxi because they had to get approval from City Hall every time they raised the fees up. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, these Instacart companies, they can do this shit overnight. They don't need any approval from the city, the state, whatever you name it. They don't need any input from the driver. They can change the rules as they will. This was strategically done, as that driver stated. Raise it up $5. People will be pissed off that giving a driver minimum wage or some type of wage increase is costing them $5 per order. And they'll fight against it. And it is working. It is working. But you talk about politicians being bought and paid for. This is why I stated in the beginning of the video. This is literally the worst news I have ever heard in terms of a drivers getting pay increases and transparency in regards to having a politician that is completely bought and paid for doing exactly the opposite of what drivers need. This is worse than Mayor Fry in Minneapolis, worse than Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. This is by far the worst I've ever seen. I'm explaining to you why. Here is the conclusion of this article. In addition to lowering drivers' wages, Nelson's proposal would bar workers from filing lawsuits against the app companies, strip the city's Office of Labor Standards power to ask companies for information, or impose any new restrictions on the companies in the future and remove transparency requirements. Now, in addition to lowering the driver's fares, all of this shit's going to happen. They're going to actually bar drivers from being able to file lawsuits against the company. Why the hell would you do that? That ain't got shit to do with this $5 fee. That's just the companies buying this politician off and them just getting everything they can out of this Sarah Nelson. Why would you prevent employees from being able to sue the company if they actually done something wrong? Uber and Lyft and DoorDash, all these companies, they already got infinitely deep pockets. Just beat the driver in court if the lawsuit is bullshit. They're passing a law to prevent the driver from filing a lawsuit to begin with. I don't even know if that's constitutional, but they seem to have City Council President Sarah Nelson in their damn back pocket. Here's another one. This will strip the labor department in that city from being able to ask the companies for information. You already know what that means. Wrongful deactivations, drivers want information on how they got deactivated. Maybe you got robbed and you want information on who the hell was in the car last. They can't ask for any information. This will remove all of that. This gives Uber and Lyft, these companies, the power to make all the damn decisions by themselves. And we know they have not been on the up and up of doing that. And last but not least, completely removes their own labor department from making any restrictions on the companies in the future, and remove the transparency requirement. Why the hell would you want to remove the requirement that the companies be transparent? Fares, deactivations, the fees you're charging. There was a requirement that the companies let you know what the hell's going on. Why would you remove that? I have never seen, and we've covered a lot of this shit, I've never seen a politician that was bought and paid off to this damn level, because none of this got anything to do with the $5 fee. This just sounds like she sat down with the gig companies and asked them, what the hell do y'all want? And I'll put it in the bill. It sounds like she literally is getting a windfall of cash from the companies to do some crazy ass shit like this. But as they say, but wait, there's more. A little bit more before we conclude the video, and it just gets worse. It would also remove restrictions that currently prevent companies from retaliating against drivers when they behave in ways companies don't like, such as declining to be on the apps during high hours of demand. This is damn near slavery. If you do not log in and take deliveries during peak periods, the companies will be allowed to retaliate against your ass. If you're not on between 3 and 6, we're not going to let you on tomorrow. Or we may get rid of you from the app altogether. After all, we don't have to tell anybody why we got rid of your ass. How is this even possible? To have someone like Sarah Nelson, and I'm going to make sure a picture of it if I can get it, to have someone like Sarah Nelson on the city council, this is a complete slap in the face to anyone in the gig worker market. She's not, sometimes they say this person is not your friend. This is an enemy. Sarah Nelson is an enemy to gig workers in that area. There is not one good thing about what she proposed. And if you notice what that driver said, by imposing a fee, it allowed folks to think that, this is unaffordable. Maybe we need to roll back drivers' salaries. And as the driver stated, her proposal don't even require that they remove the $5 fee. The only thing her proposal does is lowers drivers' pay, lowers the transparency that the companies have to give drivers and the general public at large, prevents the drivers from taking lawsuits, prevents the labor department from asking questions. This is everything in this is beneficial to the ride sharing companies. There is nothing in this that benefits the drivers. Not one piece of this benefits drivers. And the only thing that benefits the passengers or the customers is the thought that if the $5 fee goes away, they can afford the service. But as I stated, that's not even included. This is all about the companies and no one else. If you folks are in Seattle, do whatever the hell you got to do to make what this person is doing known. This is the president of city council. Damn. Anyhow, folks, let your boy know in the comments, have you seen anything as bad as this? This has got to be the worst I've ever seen out of every market. Feel free to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.